Videos are all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour, or both substance and behaviour. My preferred addictive substance, alcohol, made me an alcoholic, or rather I made myself an alcoholic in the process of drinking, from joyful conviviality drinking to dependent drinking to addictive drinking. And I don't know whether stages started or stopped. All I know is at the end I was a 24/7 drinker, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Wake up, drink, feel ill, drink more, feel okay, drink more, sleep, oblivion, covering up, fear. So these days, one day at a time, I just don't drink. And it's not a matter of self-will, it's just a preference and a choice I can make on a daily basis, because my head's a little bit clearer than it used to be. So if it wasn't drinking, all the other activities of life would go to the same ridiculous or addictive proportions. Work, relationships, collecting, materialism, everything that modern day life suggests we might enjoy and want more of. So these days I look at what I need on a daily basis. What I need most of all is sobriety, so I can understand how I'm feeling and have a connection to the reality of now. And that converts into emotional and spiritual well-being for me. So if I know what my feelings are, whether I'm happy or sad, tired out as I feel this morning, it's reality, and reality is spiritual. It's the absolute connection to living we can do and what we can't do. And that's what recovery for me is all about. So, what helped me get to where I am today? Well, I didn't do it on my own. Left to my own devices, I was locked up in a small basement flat for a while. Couldn't open the curtains, couldn't answer the telephone, couldn't answer the front door, couldn't open the post which told me it was time to leave that horrible place, go somewhere else, and then find myself homeless. That's where it took me. And it took a long time to actually deal with my own situation. That is, being able to see what my part in my life was, rather than blame anybody else. And nowadays, what keeps me sober and helps me is a fellowship. And that fellowship is Alcoholics Anonymous. Don't speak for it, never can, never will, never want to. But for me to exclude the impact of fellowship, the fellowship of AA, in my story and sharing experience, strength and hope, would for me be an ego trip. It would say to others, well, the man did it on his own. And this man did not do it on his own. What he found was, in fellowship, I'm equal to other people, no bigger, no smaller, just right-sized. The size I can be today, and I know no better, no worse, what is right for me than anybody else. So what has helped me? The fellowship, 12 steps of action to change my attitude and behaviour on a daily basis. But I will share the AA preamble here, the statement of intent for anybody intending to give it a try. Sobriety, that is, and fellowship may be part of your story as you go along. You either love it, hate it, or live with it. You don't lump it. We can always go back to drinking, or go back to some other form where we can find sobriety, because there are other ways. But AA works for me, so I share it as part of it is the backbone of my recovery. And so the statement of intent about what AA is, or the AA preamble, goes like this. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. So no matter what your politics or your religion, you're entitled to keep a hold of everything you believe in which is right for you. The only reason for going to AA is a desire to stop drinking and be sober, and then share experience, strength and hope. So we don't exclude other people's ideas and thoughts and understandings. We just talk about what is making life possible, sober today, as much as possible. But there will be times when people share what works in terms of their political or faith affiliations. That's life. That's how life is. How else would we learn how other people live? So we remain unique and authentic, and that's the gift. And I want to remain unique and authentic. At the same time, I need 12 steps or principles of living which help me keep sober, so I understand my emotions and my spiritual connections now. And it's okay to be me, whether I'm happy or sad. It's just the way it is. So I share daily reflections here, this book, AA Fellowship, written 1 page a day to help us with our 12 steps. And each month is one of the steps. And so April is step 4, all about doing a fearless moral inventory of ourselves. And it's most important that we understand that it is for our own use, this 12-step program, 12 principles, because it helps us with our self-awareness, just our own self-awareness. It's not meant for anybody else. It's about our personal conduct. And for yesterday, because I read it out the wrong way round, so I'll read what was yesterday's today. It talks about a word to drop, blame. To see how erratic emotions victimized us often took a long time. We could perceive them quickly in others, but slowly in ourselves. First of all, we had to admit that we had many of these defects, even though such disclosures were painful and humiliating. Defects of character, so-called fear, brave-facing, ego, to extremes. We need all of those things, but not at extremes all the time. Where other people were concerned, we had to drop the word blame from our speech and thought. And he goes on to say, when I did my 4th step, that's the fearless moral inventory, following the big book guidelines, which are very simple, I noticed that my grudge list was filled with my prejudices and my blaming others for my not being able to succeed and to live up to my potential. I also discovered I felt different because I was black. As I continued to work on the step, I learned that I always had drunk to rid myself of those feelings. It was only when I sobered up and worked on my inventory that I could no longer blame anyone. And it's how we are with life. It's whether we blame others for our situation or we just understand that life is this way, and how do we deal with it. And in the 12 by 12, this book, something stood out for me today. First off, they can be told that the majority of AA members have suffered severely from self-justification during their drinking days. Well, I did. Always had an excuse for why. For most of us, self-justification was the maker of excuses, of course for drinking, and for all kinds of crazy and damaging conduct. We had made the invention of alibis a fine art. We had to drink because times were hard, or times were good. We had to drink because at home we were smothered with love or got none at all. We had to drink because at work we were great successes or dismal failures. We had to drink because our nation had won a war or lost a peace, and so it went on, ad infinitum. And what it tells me is, the personal inventory is for us to understand our part in our lives, not the part of life on us, or blame others for where we are. And similarly, our conduct, we become good at and expert at looking at ourselves, but if we apply the principles to other people and start taking inventory of others, it is completely destructive, because we're judging the world as we need only judge our own personal conduct. And when this happens, the Serenity Prayer helps me. To God or good conscience, as we understand, and works for us. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, hopefully, is just for today.